Welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona, and I'm glad you decided to tune in. Hey everyone! In today's podcast episode, we're going to answer the question, why is it so hard to love yourself? And I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps you can take when you're struggling with self-love. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Simona, certified life coach and author of the book 111 Ways to Simplify Your Life. I make weekly podcast episodes on personal development, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. Alright, this is the second episode of my series on self-love. So if you haven't listened to the previous one, I will link the entire playlist down below, or you could simply head over to bit.ly/self-love videos. So to recap, last time we discussed why self-love is not selfish and how important loving yourself is for transforming any other area of your life, including all of your relationships with others. Now, today's topic is another interesting one that actually came from a question I received on Instagram, and I wanted to dedicate a separate episode so more people could benefit from it. Okay, so why is it so hard to love yourself? In some cases, it's because we didn't receive the proper love and affection as children, and we internalized the belief that we had to morph ourselves into whatever the other person needed us to be to feel loved. In other cases, our parents took great care of us, but they couldn't teach us self-love because they didn't know how to love themselves either. We're suffering now as adults because we haven't allowed ourselves to properly express the pain of not getting the love, attention, or affection that we deserved. We don't give ourselves the love we desperately needed many years ago from our parents or primary caretakers. The truth is that we simply don't know how. So now that we know why self-love is hard, let's get into the first steps you can take to stop struggling with self-love and start loving yourself unconditionally. Step number 1 is to do some self-reflection. Self-reflection can be done in many ways, depending on your personal preferences and the most effective ways you connect with yourself. But I'm going to mention 3 that work like a charm. The first way to self-reflect is to meditate. And before you click off this episode, because you've tried meditation before and it didn't work for you, I want to challenge you to listen with an open mind for the next 30 seconds. Meditation doesn't have to be done in a specific way. It doesn't have to involve listening to music, chanting, or doing breath work. There are many ways you can meditate. You just have to find the one that works for you. For beginners or people skeptical of meditation, I recommend sitting in a quiet place where you know you won't be disturbed for 5 minutes. Then, taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now the rest is up to you. You can observe your thoughts from a distance. You can visualize a calm place where you felt safe and happy before. Or you can simply focus on your breath. The important thing here is to sit with yourself, clear your mind, and then you will be able to reflect on all the things that are happening in your mind and your body much more effectively. The second way to do self-reflection when it comes to self-love is to become more self-aware. Awareness itself is curative, meaning when you're aware of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, that is more than enough to make a change in your life, which in this case is to observe yourself objectively and non-judgmentally. For example, next time you start beating yourself up, notice the stories you keep telling yourself and take a note of all the times you're criticizing yourself and diminishing your worth throughout the day. That actually brings me to the third way you can do self-reflection when you find it hard to love yourself, and that is to journal. If you're new to journaling or you've tried it before but it didn't really resonate with you, I have 3 amazing questions you can ask yourself when you're struggling with self-love. Question number 1. What do I want my relationship with myself to look like? Describe the relationship you want to have with yourself. How would you show up for yourself differently? How would you soothe yourself when life gets tough? What would your life look like once you put yourself first and prioritize meeting your emotional needs? Second question. What small step can I take to be kinder to myself today? If you had to do just one small thing today to give yourself some love, what would you do? Here are some suggestions to get you inspired. Spend 30 minutes doing something just for yourself. Or next time you feel like judging yourself, you can just pause, reflect, and choose a more loving thought. Or you can take that long, relaxing bath that you've been postponing because you needed to take care of everyone else first. Question number 3. What do I need to work on when it comes to my relationship with myself? Are you being too critical of yourself, afraid of making mistakes, or maybe neglecting your needs? Journal on that. These 3 questions were directly taken from the Self-Love Toolkit, which is my proven step-by-step framework that has helped hundreds of women learn to love themselves unconditionally. It has over 500 self-love tools, exercises, cheat sheets, and journaling prompts that will help you start your self-love journey in less than 15 minutes per day. Now, if you want to get instant access and get your hands on some exclusive bonuses, head over to www.theselflovetoolkit.com. Okay, now let's get into my second tip on how to stop struggling with self-love, and that is to forgive yourself. When you find it hard to love yourself, you often carry a lot of shame, guilt, or other difficult emotions that you need to let go of first. So I want you to be honest with yourself and think about all the negative stories you've been playing in your mind on repeat. Do you feel guilty for being a bad daughter, partner, or maybe mother? In what ways are you shaming yourself and not letting yourself thrive? How can you forgive yourself for past mistakes and realize that we're all flawed and that it's just part of being human? When you forgive yourself, you're gonna open up to all the healing that needs to take place in order for you to embrace yourself as you are and love yourself unconditionally. If you have a lot of resistance when it comes to forgiving yourself and being unapologetically yourself, listen to episode 125 next. I will leave a link below. Now, the next step you can take when you find it hard to love yourself is to manage your expectations. This is a huge one. If you expect to start loving yourself overnight, after years of being mean to yourself, I'll be brutally honest with you, that is not gonna happen. But if you take 15 minutes every day to work on reframing your negative thoughts and learning how to be gentle and kind to yourself, you will start seeing results very soon. When you're struggling with self-love, that often means that you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're forcing it. And as a defense mechanism, a big part of you is resisting it. I get it. It's hard. But it doesn't have to be. All you need to do is take a few small steps and celebrate every win. For example, if you choose to eat healthy for lunch instead of binging junk food, that is an act of self-love. If you choose to go to bed instead of scrolling on social media, that is also an act of self-love. Or let's say for the first time in your life, you choose yourself over your partner. That is how you build up trust in yourself. Because ultimately, self-love can't come without self-trust, and vice versa. I go way more in depth in the Self-Love Toolkit. So if you want the exact step-by-step shortcut to self-love, just click the first link in the description box below or visit www.theselflovetoolkit.com. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like it. And subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. I'm sending you all my love, and I'll talk to you in the next one.